In this video, I've come to a location that's been on my to-do list for about 4 years, and this is the first time I've got around to actually attempting it. I'm at the Falls of Bruar. Okay, this is the first shot. I've actually taken 3 now, but basically they're all variations of the same idea. The first shot was quite wide. I've included the top of this tree, the bridge and the drop, and then some of the pool below. And then I've got progressively tighter. I've got closer and closer until the final shot is just above the tree and down to the bottom of that first cascade. In each case, I'm taking 2 different exposures, one for the bright foliage on either side and one for the fall itself. I've still got the Freewell variable neutral density and circular polarising filter, so I'm using both of them as well. Using the polarizer to saturate the colours, and then once I've got the colour saturated, I'm dialing that in and then adjusting the variable neutral density filter until I get the shutter speed that allows me to drag out the waterfall but also still retain some of the detail in there. I'm shooting on the 24-105mm lens and I'm way up about 90mm at the moment. Here's the first 3 shots from the trip. Right, I really like this, but I'm struggling to find an angle because I'm having to lean over the wall here, and the wall, as you can see, is kind of cutting into the image. So I'm having to compromise a little bit and exclude parts of the drop that I'd actually quite like to include, just so that I can exclude the wall itself. But that's quite impressive, isn't it? I love the autumnal colours and that direct light on those rocks down there. Absolutely beautiful. Right, I've come through this, there's a little kind of viewing platform at the top bridge, which gives you this beautiful view of this fall. Now, I've already taken a few shots. It's quite busy, so I've not been able to do much to camera, mainly because I've been moving around all the time. But I've taken a couple of shots. Again, same idea. I've taken a horizontal crop here. I've taken a vertical crop here. 2, possibly 3 exposures for each shot, depending on whether the highlights are burning or not. I've removed the polarizer in the ND filter because I didn't really have the time to do particularly long exposures, because what's happening is people are coming in and I've got my camera resting against a railing, and people are coming in and leaning on the railing and moving the camera, so I'm having to restrict myself to relatively fast shutter speeds. That's beautiful, isn't it though? Look at the colours. Just incredible. I'm loving that autumnal look to those trees there, and the brown ferns and the yellow, I'm going to say birch, I'm not sure, but I'm going to say silver birch trees. And then that solitary pine in the background. That's beautiful. I might actually grab a shot of that. Yeah, something like that. That is absolutely gorgeous. I'll put the circular polarizer on to saturate those colours, but that is beautiful, isn't it? So if you get my monthly newsletter, if not, there's a link in the description below. Feel free to sign up, it's entirely free. You'll know, if you've been getting the newsletter, that I've been having some issues with my tripod. One of the legs has got a bit loose and it's been causing me some problems. Well, I just had a conversation with a fellow who apparently had the same tripod, and he gave me 1 or 2 ideas for how to fix that particular problem. But as we were chatting, he mentioned that he had another problem with the tripod, and it's one I've also had, and it's where the rubber feet fall off the bottom of the legs. And would you believe that 5 minutes after having that conversation, the rubber foot fell off the bottom of my tripod leg. I couldn't find it anywhere, and I don't have any spares with me. So I'm going to have some interesting tripod shots coming up. I think it might be time for a new tripod actually. Now, I like that. With just a little hint of the river down below. I wonder if it'd be possible to get a vertical crop where I can include that river and the orangey tree off to the left and the rest of the the fir trees disappearing down. There's only one way to find out. Shot coming up, I think. I've taken that shot with you've got the line of the river at the bottom there. Unfortunately, when I went vertical, in order to kind of make the river a wee bit bigger in the frame, I had to lose the orange tree. So I've grabbed one shot of that so far. I took an exposure for the water and then an exposure for the surrounding trees, but then I also worked out that if I went kind of halfway between those two, I could pretty much get it all. The trees are a bit bright, but they're not burned out, and the water's a bit dark, but it's not completely lost in shadow, so I might be able to retrieve that in RAW editor later on. So here we are at the upper bridge and the turning point of the route, which I think goes back down the other side of the gorge, or, well, depending on whether I can get a shot of you, I might just go back the way I came. Yeah, I decided to go down the other side after all. So I'm basically losing the rubber tip off my tripod. But in retrospect, I thought, since this is a location I've never been to before, rather than double back on myself and see what I've already seen, I'll come down the other side in the off chance there's some dramatic viewpoint that I would otherwise have missed. So I'm just making my way back down the other side of the gorge now. I've got to be honest, even at this early stage it looks as though there isn't anything on this side, but you never know. Well, perhaps, as you might imagine, for such a beautiful location, it's very popular. There's a steady stream of people making their way along that ridge that I went up earlier. So if I can give anybody any advice, it would be the usual: come early, come out of season. Right, well, what do you know, I did find another viewpoint. Getting the feeling this isn't an official viewpoint. I just found an old path disappearing into the trees and followed it. So I don't think it's an official viewpoint as such, but it's a not bad view, is it? You've got these little cascades here, this little part of the canyon, and then another 3 cascades further up, and all the way leading up to a nice kind of V shape with the fir trees in the background. What I've done is I've set up a vertical orientation and I've gone quite wide, kind of like I was trying to do earlier, assuming that photo makes into the video, but you know, exposing for the water and throwing everything else in the darkness. Only this kind of is in reverse because the water is the darkest part of this. So what I'm doing is I've taken a shot where I've exposed for the water, and then I've increased the shutter speed quite dramatically so that everything else is thrown into darkness as well. The water obviously becomes completely jet black, you can't see it, but I might be able to blend the water back into the darker image and hopefully that'll have that same dramatic effect. I've just realised it wasn't particularly far from this lower bridge that I lost the half my tripod, so I'm going to give it one last look just in case, you never know. It was round about here, and I'm thinking when it dropped it might have rolled down, so I'm just looking for it while I find it. This will make great YouTube if I do. Yeah. Nowhere to be seen. Oh well. Future archaeologists are going to have a field day with me. I'll leave it discarding camera gear all over the country. That's about 3 tripod feet, a lens hood, a lens cap. What have I got next? No, it's gone. Oh well. Right. Back down. So that's it for the Falls of Bruar. Hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know below which the shots were your favourite, and don't forget to hit and like and subscribe to my newsletter if you've not already done that. And yeah, thanks for watching, and in the meantime I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers, bye.